Reagir aqui ao I Build the Dream Studio. Acho que é um vídeo do mesmo gajo. E se for com este estilo de qualidade, mano, estamos aqui para ver e para degustar este vídeo da maneira que isto deve ser, mano. Incrível. Acho que eu não conhecia e precisava de conhecer este gajo. Encontrei um vídeo, achei brutal, mas depois de ter visto a produção mesmo do vídeo todo, mano, está incrível.
Come to build the future of the Mr. Who's the Boss studio. We have one key goal with this. Something that's going to allow us to make more videos than we've ever made and also better videos than we've ever made. So we've actually got two studios in this new house. We've got Studio A, which is what we're sitting in right now. I want this to be a really similar style of room to what we used to film in. You know, camera, then me at my desk, and then a really cool background, but just, you know, very much upgraded from what we had. And then Studio B, which is the outbuilding, that is where we can go absolutely crazy and just build the room of our fantasies. So let's talk cameras. Previously, we used to use a really high-end Sony FX6 camera for our main studio, but then any time that we film in any other room, which over time we have started to do a lot more of, we've been filming with one of these much smaller, much less good Sony A7S III cameras. So I think the goal
here
is to film every single video taken in the
cenas de qualidade maluca.
FX6, which means we are going to have to get 3 of them. 1, 2, 3.
Foda-se, mano.
Oh my god. I mean, I have already somewhat come to terms with the fact that we are investing a large part of what we've earned so far to make our videos better in the future. But still, seeing figures like this in your basket is it's not an everyday occurrence. So then the microphone we've been using for a really long time actually is the Sennheiser MKH416. It's a really good mic. And it's actually such a good mic that you probably noticed the difference in past videos anytime I move from filming in the studio to filming out and about where I'm having to wear one of these little lav mics. Those sound terrible compared to the main Sennheiser one. But the cool thing we can do here, because we're building this from the ground up, is A, get an even better mic, and then B, make sure that each of those mics is pre-rigged up to each of those Sony FX6 cameras that we're getting, which means that any video we film in this house, we can have prime audio quality. Okay, so let's see if there's anything better. There's the MKE600, the MKH418, MKH30. What is up with these names? Part of the reason that the microphone market is so convoluted is that sometimes there isn't just a better and a worse. Different microphones are designed with different pickup patterns. So some will collect all the sound in 180 degree radius, others will be super narrow and focused on exactly what's in front of them. And that's kind of what we want, because we want to be able to hear me really clearly and then nothing else, none of the planes, trains, cars that are happening around me. And this looks like the absolute highest tier implementation of
1400, 1319 libras.
Okay, this is where it gets fun. Now we get to decide what actually goes behind me when filming videos. You know, like right now we have 2 TV screens and then 1 smaller screen in the middle, and we kind of put together these cool little backdrops themed based on the video we're filming. How can we take that to a whole other level? We could get like 3 massive TVs that span the wall, but then you'd kind of lose out on some ceiling height. But what's the biggest TV you can buy? So it seems like it's 98 inches. £34,000? I mean, if this was our entire background, then fine. But even 3 of those isn't going to come close to covering this wall. Oh, this is interesting. Let's ignore the price for now. So this is a digital...
What? Mano, estamos... Just ignore a price for now, com 242 mil pounds. Foda-se, mano. Afinal, este gajo está de helicóptero em casa, caralho. Dá para perceber que ele está a rei, não é? Mas, mano, 200 e tal mil pounds.
The entire background behind me is screen, and we can just swap it out at any moment for anything. Is there such thing as like a video backdrop for filming? Virtual production. So essentially massive screens designed with exactly this in mind. I mean, this is the kind of thing that like TV shows use nowadays. You know, like The Mandalorian, that was filmed using a massive wraparound immersive display. There's one here called Vue, your creative technology partner for next generation content. Oh my goodness.
Não mostrem este gajo ao Jamie, mano. Se calhar já conheço. Não mostrem.
Environments that you choose from.
Homem, arranja já a maneira de meter o Jamie pobrezinho.
We might be able to do something here that no YouTuber has ever done before. We could film in all of these places. And because this isn't like a green screen where you use an editing program afterwards to cut the person out, this is going to look real. This is actually shot using a virtual production studio. The transitions we can do. I don't think I've ever been as immediately sold on something as I am right now. I see it. This is the obvious next step in the Mr. Who's the Boss studio. Oh yeah, this is also where we can fully
Estou 100 e tal mil pau.
Stuff like Like, you know,
150 mil balas.
We spend
Casualmente,
so
não
much
é? É
time
passar cartão.
fiddling with each individual leg of our tripod to make
Não
sure
é
our camera is
ecrã,
completely
caralho.
level before we shoot.
150 mil paus num carro é maluco. 150 mil paus no ecrã é, mano. Tripé 2500 balas.
Everything I've been looking for, it actually just does it on its own. So we could just pre-program a bunch of different heights that we tend to
Mano, para ficar
use
sempre
and
a mesma
never
altura.
ever touch the legs again. It even works on uneven ground. That is so ridiculously impressive. So let's get 3. In terms of desks,
Mais
we
9
actually
mil
found some
balas.
really good ones when we were
Lindo,
shopping for the
lindo,
office
mano. Como é que a gente não viu mais merdas deste gajo, mano?
is, you know, when we film, I put a lot of heavy objects on this table.
Lembra-me na próxima live, amanhã vemos mais umas cenas deste gajo, que ele tem mais vídeos, mano. Tem do ginásio, por exemplo.
E7Q max load is 300 kilograms. I feel like this is the way to go. We'll get one of these for this Studio A. I feel like Studio B is going to need something even more extravagant. Also for that office, we bought the steel case gesture chairs. They're actually awesome. I think we'll just get the same brand. Oh yeah, lighting. We used to have one light from this company, Aperture, and it is the biggest, best, brightest, softest light that I own. But then the problem was the rest of our lights are all from different companies. Before we film each time, we'd be fiddling around with 3 or 4 different apps to tweak 3 or 4 different sets of lights that all don't quite match with each other. So I suppose the dream
Já manda sopas.
every single bit of our lighting from this one company and then just use this one app, the Sidus Link Pro, to control everything. So we need to get 2 of these, the main light sources. We should get the Light Dome 3 to fit on top. This is going to both soften the light, but also allow you to direct it so it doesn't spill onto the background. The Infinibar PB12. This is kind of amazing because we use tube lights like this all the time. One really annoying thing about them is when you put them down, they don't stay still.
Então ele vai comprar outro só por causa dele.
Actually makes a whole lot of sense. Oh, we should get these too for the smaller sections, like the hair light that comes directly above me. Okay, that's enough aperture lights. Now, Studio B is where we have some real fun. Now, I've been toying with a few.
Vamos só ignorar o dinheiro sempre que vimos o vídeo do gajo. Quase 200 capas.
Really homely and cozy.
Mas não acabou, mano. Oh, e tem da sala, vídeo da sala dele, a gente vai ter de ver isto tudo.
Why build 2 living rooms? So then I realized if we already have the normal desk style studio and we already have the home, then this can actually just be the ultimate futuristic Mr. Who's the Boss themed.
Pá, eu acho meu uma beca. O futurista normal e já é absurdo, mano.
So there's got to be a TV area in there. That's where we're going to test the consoles, the controllers, the speakers. I want everything to feel futuristic. It'd be really cool if we can actually get a futuristic TV.
Mano, não tenho como dizer isso ao certo, porque tive uma grande ajuda do grande Tiago Barros.
Oh, this is kind of perfect. It's actually
pai 20, diria, mano. Mais a obra que foi fazer o espaço, não é?
So thin. Wait. You pay $9,999 using the promo code. I don't have a lot of confidence this is gonna work. Oh my god.
What?
It actually did. Okay, fine. This is actually so exciting. You know, because before, we didn't have any dedicated spaces to film different products in. So anytime we test something that basically wasn't a phone, we would almost always have to specifically clean and relight an entire new room just for like a 1-minute section.
Estamos a falar destes props que ele mandou vir.
Every single type of product in mind, then when we're testing those products, we can just slot them into the part of the setup that they're made for. Okay, so another product that I think we need to get is a central swivelable chair. But this is going to be such a central piece in the room that we have to make sure it reinforces this whole futuristic design language. Wait, what? I mean, it just looks like a toilet. Oh my god. Wow, they look supremely comfortable. The only thing I'm thinking is this dude is doing quite a lot of wobbling. Oh, the other option is just that we go for something really, really comfy. Probably makes sense. Okay, what else do we need? Oh yeah, like a desk setup. This is the room in which I want to make sure we're getting the absolute highest end stuff so that when we test other products, we know that there are no bottlenecks on our end. So there is, of course, the Apple Pro.
Não sei, rato, não parece.
It's a great display, it's just 5,000? To be honest, I think I just want to swallow the bill and use the display that I already know is very, very good. And then the Razer Basilisk V3 Pro for the mouse, the Razer Black Widow V4 Pro for the keyboard. This is gonna look so good in white. And obviously we're not gonna put the LEDs like this, we'll just make them all blue. It's actually kind of poetic that the first mechanical keyboard I ever bought was a Razer Black Widow. So we've got the console area, we've got the PC area. I also think it'd be really cool to have a sofa area. Wow. Is this real? Now what's the difference between white and ice? This is perfect. Every piece of this brand of furniture can come with LEDs inside. So what if we could match that to the
Mano, este gajo está-me a mostrar merdas que eu nem sequer fazia ideia que existiam. Se calhar preferia continuar sem saber.
This is too cool. Oh, yes. So I feel like
Yeah, mas ele curte. Não viste ele dizer que foi o primeiro teclado que ele comprou de sempre. Sei que ele foi comprar outro igual, mas mais recente.
Who's the Boss logo that you saw as soon as you walked in, and like acoustic paneling all across the walls to keep the noise levels really low. And also, if we can find a way to actually bake lighting into the room itself, the whole thing could be like one switch. But that's definitely going to need to be a custom job. So let's make some calls. So we did. We made a lot of calls. These two studios have been by far the most complex, but easily also the most rewarding rooms to put together. We got the massive cinema quality wraparound screen setup in Studio A, which took many, many individual panels, each fitted one by hand. Then I broke some by falling into the thing. I was reviewing it, so we got it made again. And then as for the second studio, well, everything has changed. We created a brand new floor that allowed us to
olha para isto, mano, olha só para o mecanismo desta merda.
Using this layer of tracking that allowed us to mount acoustic fabric on top to improve the sound. We added air conditioning in the middle of it and lighting. We spent 4 months rigging this room up with an
Anda, mostra lá o resultado, caralho.
setup. All finished off with translucent stone panels with, you guessed it, the Mr. Who's the Boss logo bang in the middle.
Anda fedido online.
So let's start with Studio A. Now this used to be the garage, which is about the worst room in the house that you could film in. Because right in front of us, we had this thin metal door that lets every bit of outside noise in and bounces every bit of inside noise back at you, so you get tons of echo. So we haven't actually removed it. We've just buried the thing with about 20 centimeters of rock wool, which is incredibly good for absorbing sound because it's really fibrous. There's a board on top of that, and then even more acoustic paneling on top, as well as on every other inch of the room. The lighting is an even bigger upgrade though. Because we've now got about 3 times as much space compared to the old setup to work with, we've got 2 massive dome lights instead of the one that we used to have. These are way brighter than smaller lights. But it's not just about brightness.
Olha lá o background do homem. Quero que ele mostre um shot como é que fica da câmera.
So it looks
Será que vai mostrar? Acho que sim.
And I actually look pretty for once. That's all relative.
Olha para
We've
isto.
got 4 light bars for side lighting compared to the one that we used to. You might have noticed on some old videos this very subtle outline around me. That is from the side light. It's been really good for separating me from the background. So, just as an example, if we turn all the room lights off now, so you see this light on my cheeks and on the side of my face. That's because of these guys. It creates so much more shape. There's a tiny little hair light up here. This is like the cream on the cake for lighting. It just means that you can see the entire outline of my face and the top half doesn't disappear into the background. And then it's all finished off with the dome lights, which are the cake itself. And then this is where we keep all of our spare tube lights. These are basically the easiest, quickest way to light up any room. So anytime that we're filming in a room that's not a studio, that already has all the lights kind of baked into it, we can take 2 tubes from here, we pop them in the room we're filming in, and
claro que o homem grava content todos os dias, caralho. E um gajo nem vê o estúdio do Bernardo Almeida ou do Nuno Agonia e já são brutais, atenção. Mas isto é uma cena, bro. Que é isto?
So this desk is the FlexiSpot E7Q, and this thing has been an absolute godsend. The main difference from my old desk just being the fact that this is rock solid. Like, I cannot actually move the thing an inch, which is so great compared to the like rickety piece of cardboard that we used to use to film our old videos on. Plus, the fact that we've managed to go for a way bigger surface than before means that we no longer have to cram everything together when we're testing a bunch of products. We've got the same steel case gesture. Whoa! I genuinely need like speed ramps around here. Stop me doing that, please. We've got the same steel case gesture chairs that we have in the office, but since this room is like the Mr. Who's the Boss command center, we got a custom Mr. Who's the Boss version of it. But let's not kid around. Just before we get to Studio B, this is really the hero feature of Studio A. This is the View 1, which is a combination of a massive screen specifically designed for filming, so it's very bright, very customizable, and absorbs pretty much all reflections, with a powerful computer that sits in this rack here, which allows you to make the most of that screen. So this is the new studio. I'm of course kidding. This is the new studio. It's actually our old studio. That's actually so cool that we can perfectly recreate that here.
Foda-se, mano.
Now I'm outside, which makes a change.
Mano. Isto é crazy. Isto é completamente crazy, mano. Que é esta merda? Mano, a minha cabeça está a explodir. Que é isto, bro? Pá, isto são 150 mil euros. Vamos, né? 150 mil euros fora as luzes e essas merdas. Só o ecrã que está de fundo. São 150 mil euros. Mas eu estou a descobrir. Pá, eu sei obviamente que existem painéis destes, mas olhem para a qualidade desta merda, mano. Foda-se, bro. Mano, é um absurdo, claro, mano, mas não é para nós isto não é para nós, mano. Se ele ganha dinheiro, se ama o que faz, se é tipo obcecado pela produção de conteúdo e tudo mais, mano, acho que se pode, porque não, não é? Mas é brutal isto.
Is that an antelope? And this right here is an antelope in its natural habitat. Was that bad?
I liked it.
Okay, as long as she's happy. So, at its base level, this is the Vue Studio software. It's a web page, not an app, because they're changing things far too often for it to be worth getting approval from Apple every time they want to do something. So we scroll through the lists of probably tens of thousands of backgrounds. You pick one, and that is displayed all across this display here. And unlike filming in front of, let's say, a green screen, this is real. This is actually
já tinha as imagens todas feitas para funcionar ali.
Matters because let's say we change the scene to something with much more obvious pink sunset lighting. That light is actually bleeding onto me, the desk, and everything on the desk, which wouldn't happen if the environment was just edited in afterwards. Plus, things like the reflections on products or objects that have any kind of transparency. These are things that would previously kill the green screen illusion, but here they just further immerse you in it. It's kind of like if you ever watched
mas
Star
green
Wars,
screen
The
não
Force
custa
Awakens.
150 mil euros, não é?
Not the best Star Wars movie, don't kill me. Even though the lightsabers in that film, obviously they weren't real, when they filmed that movie, the actors would actually hold prop sabers that still emitted that light.
Não sei se pagou o estúdio com o vídeo, mano. Aí também tem lá calma.
Is the best way to make your effect convincing. Plus, something that you would very much struggle to do with a green screen, here you can get a second camera and actually get a real second angle of the same scene. And with every background, there's a whole load of settings. Things like exposure, things like color saturation, blur, which is particularly handy because let's say I want to make this background seem like it's further away from me than it actually is. Done. I can scale up and down the background. I can rotate. Oh my goodness, that looks terrible. Welcome to the new studio, guys. This is where it all comes together. So, this is pretty cool, right?
Manganda Bernardo, caralho, como é que estamos? Obrigadão, caralho, então. Rip, malta. Espero que ela tenha corrido bem. Ó, Bernardo, escolhe alguém para darmos rede, que eu também já estou aqui de saída maior.
So, one tap on here, and those are now orange, so they're bleeding that fire's color onto my sides. Another tap, and the hair light will now match that same orange.
Foi um mau timing, mas muito obrigado. Espero que a live tenha corrido bem.
Each one can display every single color, so I can even have
não sei se hoje pintou ou não, mano.
It's not even just flat colors. There are literally programmable special effects with this lighting. For example, this is a fire mode, and I mean, it's just concerningly good, really, isn't it? Beautiful. There's one more thing. One little sprinkle of magic.
Eu vi ontem na tua live, cara.
This is Vue's AI. And the idea is that you can use this AI to do everything you could want to on this screen.
A música viva.
The original Windows XP wallpaper, and then
acho que é isso que estás a falar.
Let's just ask it to turn it into a seamlessly looping video. So this isn't something we're going to get right on first go. There's a lot to learn. It's a pretty damn good start. I'm so excited.
Já vamos à mendinha então.
The thing
I'm sure
shooting all of this content is one of the FX6 cameras that we bought. Now you might be wondering at this point why.
Tens de mandar isto para a tua produção, ó Bernardo.
The second is over.
Já acabou de meter este ecrã de 250 mil paus dentro do espaço.
Every video around the house with, and I won't lie to you, this is one of my proudest.
Tens de mandar isto para eles.
This one rig is everything that you need to shoot a YouTube video, all stuck together into one.
Não me importa, mano. Eu
so
curto
this
de
very
novo.
high-end cinema camera, which we have made wireless thanks to this chunk of a battery on the back, which gives the whole system 3.5 hours of runtime, and notably charges with USB-C. That's the best microphone that we could find, permanently connected to the rig and always powered on by it. And this is a special kind of awesome because we've pre-decided what is the optimal distance for me to stand from this camera.
Tens de ver a casa deste gajo, Bernardo. A gente estava a ver há bocado o jardim que ele fez.
So that it will sound its best when I'm standing in that optimal position. We've got cushioned wheels, which means it's not just easy to move around, but you can also film while moving it around to get these beautiful cinematic sweeping style shots. And then the whole thing is carried by this self-leveling tripod that we bought.